Hello there, very good evening and welcome to the news tonight, where we get you the day's top stories in detail right here in the next 30 minutes. I'm Tracy Shilshi and here are the headlines. Union Cabinet approves new policy to expand metro network across various cities. Private investment and innovative forms of financing of metro projects included for the capital-intensive high-capacity projects. India and the United States to establish new dialogue between foreign and defense ministers of both the countries. The new dialogue format 2x2 will be similar to the India-Japan mechanism. Frustrated over the Doklam standoff in Sikkim, China resorts to aggression in other places. Its forces resort to stone pelting after their intrusion attempt is rebuffed in eastern Ladakh. And Information and Technology Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad warns internet platforms, says that they will be dealt with sternly if they do not remove links leading to the deadly blue whale game. Our top story this evening: the government approved a new metro rail policy on Wednesday to expand the metro network across various cities. Private investment and other innovative forms of financing of metro projects have been included for capital-intensive, high-capacity projects.
A Union Cabinet meeting chaired by Prime Minister Narendra Modi approved a new metro rail policy that will meet the aspirations of a large number of cities. Currently, metro rail services are operational in 7 cities, covering about 370 kilometers. As many as 537 kilometers in 12 cities are under construction, and proposals for as many as 600 kilometers are under consideration.
कि एक सिस्टम अप्रोच होगी, इसमें कोई एड हॉक सैंक्शंस नहीं होंगे. सीएमपी, इंटरमॉडल इंटीग्रेशन, अल्टरनेटिव एनालिसिस क्या है, ट्रांसपोर्ट सिस्टम कहां जरूरत है, उसका एक रिगरस अप्रेजल बाय एन इंडिपेंडेंट एजेंसी, इकोनॉमिक cost-benefit analysis hoga.
The cabinet also decided to extend tax incentives to industries in the northeast and Himalayan states till March 2027 and approved mechanisms for strategic disinvestment.
जो sunset clause है इन exemptions की, इसको 31 मार्च 2027 तक extend कर दिया गया है.
The cabinet also approved raising extra budgetary resources up to 9,020 crore rupees for long-term irrigation funds during 2017-18. Kriti Mishra, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, Union Information Technology Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad today warned internet platforms of stern action if they didn't remove links leading to the deadly blue whale game. There have been instances of children committing suicide while playing Blue Whale Challenge in India. The Blue Whale Challenge is reportedly a suicide game in which the player is given certain tasks to complete over 50 days and the final task leads to suicide.
जो ब्लू व्हेल गेमिंग को लेकर लोग सुसाइड कर रहे थे, हम लोग के पास बहुत शिकायत आई थी, इंक्लूडिंग फ्रॉम द कंसर्न डिपार्टमेंट. So we have taken a very tough measure. Clear instructions have been issued to all the technology platform that they must be linked with this gaming immediately. Because under the Indian IT ecosystem, no initiative shall be permitted which provokes young boys to commit suicide. This is plainly unacceptable.
We will keep an eye out on developments on that front. Meanwhile, India and the US will soon establish a new dialogue between the foreign and defense ministries of both countries. The name for the new dialogue format will be 2x2 and will be similar to the India-Japan 2+2 dialogue format. The new mechanism puts defense and security issues at the front and center of the relationship between India and the US.
US President Donald Trump's phone call to Prime Minister Narendra Modi on the eve of Independence Day seemingly went beyond pleasantries. Both leaders agreed to elevate their strategic consultations by establishing a new 2x2 ministerial dialogue. A White House press release disclosed that they also resolved to enhance stability across the Indo-Pacific region by establishing a new dialogue mechanism. Both India and the United States share similar views on major global challenges like terrorism, the Indo-Pacific region, and bilateral defense ties. It also marks a shift from the previous US administration's policies and will replace the existing dialogue between foreign and commerce ministers that was started by the Obama administration.
This has been arrived at to ensure peace and tranquility in the Indo-Pacific region, which includes Indian Ocean region, it includes Off-Pak region, it includes South China Sea and East China Sea, and the entire thing is with China in the backdrop.
The new mechanism was also discussed by External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj and US Secretary of State Rex Tillerson during a phone conversation on Tuesday. MEA spokesperson Ravish Kumar said they discussed the 2+2 mechanism to harness synergy in foreign and defense engagements. In his conversation with Modi, Trump also welcomed the first ever shipment of American crude oil to India, which will start from Texas later this month. He pledged that the United States will continue to be a long-term supplier of energy to India. The US President is also looking forward to the Global Entrepreneurship Summit in India this November, where his daughter and advisor Ivanka Trump will lead the US delegation. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Meanwhile, China on Wednesday claimed that it was not aware of the reports of its soldiers entering Indian territory in Ladakh. Indian border guards had yesterday foiled the attempt, resulting in stone pelting that caused minor injuries to people on both sides. Observers say that Chinese move may have been aimed at testing waters on the Indian side. However, on a positive note, troops from both India and China exchanged sweets on Independence Day at various locations, including at Doklam. Here are more details.
The standoff in the Doklam area of Sikkim has triggered Chinese aggression in other border areas with India. On Tuesday, when India was celebrating Independence Day, Chinese troops were stopped from intruding in eastern Ladakh near the Pangong Lake. Frustrated at being thwarted by the Indian forces, the Chinese troops pelted stones and injured some Jawans. Experts feel the incident portends a dangerous turn of events.
China continues to act in a very unfriendly and an expansionist manner. It is quite clear that Xi Peng, for personal aggrandizement, is putting on stake peace and tranquility in Asia-Pacific region, Indo-Pacific region, and in every region where countries are contiguous to China. In the long run, it will be fatal for China to indulge in such activities.
After getting rebuffed on the Ladakh border, the Chinese Foreign Ministry is now, however, denying the incident.
你说的具体情况我不了解，但是我可以告诉你的是，中国的边防部队一直在致力于维护中印边境地区的和平与安宁，而且呢，我们一直在实控线中方一侧巡逻和执行。我们敦促印方恪守两国间达成的有关协议、协定和规定，切实地遵守1959年实控线。
The Indian side has also chosen not to make a formal comment while indicating that such incidents are dealt with on the border itself. China is known for its practice to intrude and retreat when confronted while talking of peace. Strategists see it as a ploy to put India under pressure for a negotiation when in fact China too can't think of a full-fledged confrontation.
China does it in a long-term basis. It's not in a hurry. So if we are going to think that China will straight away do something and be done away with, no. China will wait for a right opportunity when its pressures on its other borders are less and when the atmosphere is congenial, the military action, adventure atmosphere is congenial for it, it will take action. And that's what China is waiting to do.
The latest confrontation between India and China comes ahead of the BRICS summit in China next month. Observers are waiting to see what effect it will have on the summit. Akhilesh Suman's report for Rajya Sabha Television.
In other news, Congress Vice President Rahul Gandhi today accused Prime Minister Narendra Modi of creating an environment of hatred and anger in Kashmir. Addressing a rally in Bengaluru on Wednesday, Rahul said that Narendra Modi's policy created space in Jammu and Kashmir for Pakistan to misbehave. His statement comes a day after Prime Minister Modi said in his Independence Day speech that the problem in Kashmir can be resolved by embracing people and not through bullets and abuses. The Congress Vice President was in Bengaluru to inaugurate the Indira canteens the Karnataka government subsidized outlets that will provide breakfast at 5 rupees and lunch and dinner at 10 rupees. Initially called Namma Canteen, the name was later changed. The state government provided 100 crore rupee budget to set up the canteens in 198 wards of Bengaluru Mahanagarpalika. Rebel JDU leader Sharad Yadav is convening a Sajha Virasat Bachao Sammelan in order, in fact, to what he says to save composite culture of the country. Addressing a press conference, Yadav said that the program is not against anyone but in the interest of the nation, asserting that composite culture is the soul of the constitution. He added that similar meetings will be held across the country. Opposition parties including the Congress, the BSP, the Samajwadi Party, TMC and the left are expected to attend the event. The program is being seen as Yadav shows strength against his party chief, Nitish Kumar's decision to ally with BJP.
ये किसी के खिलाफ ने देश के हक में सम्मेलन बनाया, ये भारत के हक में है। हिंदुस्तान के 125 करोड़ जिनकी बात कर रहे हैं लोग, उनके हक में, ये भारत के हक में, हिंदुस्तान के हक में ये सम्मेलन मैंने कल जो है वो लोगों ने जिम्मेदारी दी थी, कोऑर्डिनेट कर रहा हूँ। आज तो सब रहे उसमें, मैंने सबसे बात की है। उसमें किसान आएंगे, आदिवासी आएंगे, उसमें दलित आएंगे।
Pakistan on Wednesday violated ceasefire by shelling forward posts in civilian areas along the line of control in Poonch district of Jammu and Kashmir. This prompted the Indian Army to give a befitting response. There were also reports of firing and shelling in Mankot subsector of Poonch. This is the fourth consecutive day that Pakistani troops have violated the ceasefire along the line of control. On Tuesday, Pakistan violated the ceasefire in Baz and Nambla areas of Uri sector in Baramulla district of the state. Pakistan violated ceasefire 4 times on the 13th of August by firing and shelling in Krishna Ghati, Naushera and Mankot, resulting in injuries to 3 jawans.
आज सुबह 6 बजे से हमें रिपोर्ट्स आई कि मेंढर जो मनकोट है और मेंढर के जो और भी एरियाज़ हैं जैसे गोलट है, तो वहाँ पे LOC पे फायरिंग हुई सुबह से, शेलिंग भी हुई, हैवी शेलिंग। तो लोगों को हिदायत दी गई कि वो अपने घरों से ना निकलें इस दौरान, जिस दौरान ये शेलिंग हो रही है। और साथ ही साथ जो बच्चे हैं उनको भी स्कूल ना भेजें।
The Supreme Court has appointed a supervisory body comprising 2 former Apex Court judges to examine the SIT's decision to close 241 cases of the 1984 anti-Sikh riots matter. A bench headed by Justice Deepak Mishra has asked the body to scrutinize the SIT's justification in closing the riots-related cases and directed it to submit a report within 3 months. The order came after the centre told the court that it was for the bench to decide and take a final call in the matter. The court was told that out of the 250 cases which were investigated by the SIT, closure reports were filed in 241. 9 cases are being investigated by the SIT, while 2 cases are being probed by the Central Bureau of Investigation. Now to Madhya Pradesh, where election results for 43 local bodies, which included 14 municipalities and 23 Nagar Parishads, were declared on Wednesday by the State Election Commission. BJP emerged victorious again, winning 26 seats, while the Congress backed 14 and 3 seats went to others. Madhya Pradesh Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan took to Twitter to thank the party workers and also the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi and party chief Amit Shah. Election results were also declared for 14 Janpad Panchayat members and 3 district Panchayat Sansadiyas. According to the local body elections, the polling in fact for the local body elections was held on the 11th of August. Over 8 lakh voters exercised their franchise for the polls.
मैं सबसे पहले तो जनता का आभार प्रकट करता हूं, फिर भारतीय जनता पार्टी में विश्वास प्रकट किया है। माननीय नरेंद्र मोदी जी के रूप में हमें ऐसा नेतृत्व मिला है जो दुनिया का सर्वश्रेष्ठ नेतृत्व है।
संतोषजनक नतीजा पार्टी के पक्ष में आया है और मैं समझता हूं कि इसके लिए सबसे ज्यादा साधुवाद धन्यवाद कार्यकर्ताओं को मिलना चाहिए, जो बड़ी शिद्दत के साथ पिछले 2-3 माह से इस काम में हुए थे। और ये भी स्पष्ट होता है इन नतीजों से कि अब मध्य प्रदेश की जनता इस सरकार से ऊब चुकी है और परिवर्तन की बयार मध्य प्रदेश में धीरे-धीरे शुरू हुई है.
And here are more national news updates in Nationwide. As a follow-up action in the Jammu and Kashmir terror funding case, the NIA conducted raids at 12 locations in Baramulla and Handwara in North Kashmir and Srinagar. The raids were carried out on the residences of relatives and acquaintances of a prominent businessman who is one of the accused in the case. The Supreme Court has asked the NIA to probe Kerala's case of a Hindu woman converting to Islam and marrying a Muslim man. The Apex Court also ordered that the NIA probe will be supervised by former SC Judge Justice R.V. Ravindran. The NIA told the Apex bench that it has prima facie view that Akhila Ashokan's conversion to Islam and marriage to a Muslim man was not an isolated incident. DMK President M. Karunanidhi was today hospitalized to undergo a minor procedure. The veteran leader has been ill since last year and is being treated at the Gopalapuram residence in Chennai. Bengaluru received 128.7 millimeters of rainfall, the highest in a day since 1890, according to the Met Department. The highest ever rainfall recorded in the city in a day was on the 27th of August 1890 when Bengaluru received 162.1 millimeters of rain. The worst hit areas were South Bengaluru, which houses offices of many IT majors and startups. The flood situation remains grim across several states. The death toll in Bihar due to floods rose to 56. Heavy rains over the last 3 days triggered flash floods, affecting nearly 2 million people. While in Assam, the deluge has claimed over 100 lives and over 32 lakh have been affected by the flood. As many as 3,192 villages are underwater and 1.79 lakh hectares of crop area have been damaged. With a quick break here, up next we'll get you the top international stories.
Prime Minister gives this aspirational dream for the entire country for 2022. At the same time, you have opposition voices like Mr. Anand Sharma, who today said that the unfinished task is still there.
Low aim is crime. So we are putting up a high aim, which is good.
When a woman is walking on the road, there are people who say that a woman should not wear this, a woman should not talk to a male. Adjective which is used for a woman is that she's a buri ladki.
Real challenge in our society, changing the society itself.
Despite all the drive on cleanliness, we still see some dark corners in the country, like what has just happened in Gorakhpur.
There should have been a proper study, research. Now we are working out.
Watch to the point with Minister for Human Resource and Development Prakash Javadekar only on Rajya Sabha television.
Welcome back. Let's get you international news now. And US President Donald Trump is sticking to his stand of blaming both sides for the violent unrest in Charlottesville in Virginia that left one protester dead and several others injured. After condemning the white supremacists on Monday, he had blamed left-wing supporters for charging at the alt-right on Tuesday. However, his latest comments have drawn criticism even from within his Republican Party.
There was a group on this side, you can call them the left, or you've just called them the left, that came violently attacking the other group. So you can say what you want, but that's the way it is.
On both sides, sir? You said there was hatred, there was violence on both sides.
Well, I do think there's blame. Yes, I think there's blame on both sides. You look at both sides. I think there's blame on both sides, and I have no doubt about it, and you don't have any doubt about it either. And if you reported it accurately, you would say.
Soon after Trump's second comment blaming both sides, over 100 protesters rallied in front of the Trump Tower in Chicago, denouncing the racist rampage in Charlottesville and the president's ambiguous attitude on the issue. Rallies, protests and candlelight vigils were also held elsewhere in New York, Washington, D.C., Detroit, Minneapolis, Dallas, Miami, Los Angeles and Seattle. The right-wing march had been organized to protest against the proposed removal of a statue of General Robert E. Lee, who commanded the pro-slavery Confederate forces during the American Civil War. The event drew white supremacy groups. Violence broke out after they were confronted by anti-racism groups. A car plowed into one of the group of the anti-racism protesters, killing one and injuring 19 others. While that happens, the US has released the 2016 International Religious Freedom Report, and this is the first report to be released under the Trump administration. Releasing the report, US Secretary of State Rex Tillerson said that religious freedom is under attack in Pakistan. The report says that minorities like Sikhs, Christians and Hindus remain concerned over government's inadequate action to address forced conversions to Islam. The report further says that members of religious minority communities said that they continue to be inconsistent application of laws safeguarding minority rights and enforcement of protections of religious minorities at both the federal and provincial levels.
Almost 20 years after the law's passage, conditions in many parts of the world are far from ideal. Religious persecution and intolerance remains far too prevalent. Almost 80% of the global population live with restrictions on or hostilities to limit their freedom of religion. Where religious freedom is not protected, we know that instability, human rights abuses, and violent extremism have a greater opportunity to take root.
In fact, the report also talks about conditions in several other countries across the world, specifically in China, where the report says that the situation is of particular concern. China responded by asking the US to discard bias and stop using religious issues to interfere in other countries' international affairs.
中国政府充分尊重和依法保护民众的宗教信仰自由。中国各民族、各地区的人民依法享有充分的宗教信仰自由。美方的所谓报告罔顾事实、颠倒黑白，对中国宗教自由状况进行无端的指责，中方对此坚决的反对，并且已就此向美方提出了严正的交涉。大家也都看到了，事实证明美国并不完美。我们敦促美方尊重事实，管好自己的事情，停止用所谓的宗教问题干涉其他国家内政的错误做法。
And now to Nigeria, where at least 27 people were killed and 83 injured as 3 female suicide bombers blew themselves up in the northeastern region. The attack took place outside a refugee camp near Maiduguri in Borno State, a stronghold of the Islamist militant group Boko Haram. The first bomber blew herself up near the camp, triggering panic. As people were trying to close their shops, 2 other female bombers triggered explosives, causing most of the casualties. Rescue workers transported injured victims to a hospital in Maiduguri, which is 25 kilometers away from where the incident occurred. Boko Haram has been fighting to set up an Islamic state since 2009. And here are more international news updates in Global Buzz. Pakistan's ousted Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif filed 3 separate appeals in the Supreme Court to review its verdict in the Panama Papers case that resulted in his disqualification. In 3 separate review petitions, Sharif's lawyer, Khwaja Harris, cited 19 reasons as to why he should not be disqualified. Sharif appealed to the top court, asking for an injunction to suspend its original verdict until the review petitions were decided. The petitioner also argued that Sharif did not conceal documents in his nomination papers ahead of the 2013 presidential polls. The Supreme Court had labelled Sharif dishonest due to this. China overtook Japan to become the world's largest holder of US Treasury securities. China's holdings of US Treasuries increased by $44.3 billion in June, with the total holdings up to $1.1465 trillion. Japan, which overtook China as the largest holder of US Treasuries last October, cut its holdings by $20.5 billion to $1.0908 trillion in June. China's foreign exchange reserves rose for a 6th consecutive month in July, reaching $3.081 trillion, according to the People's Bank of China. Floods in North Bangladesh have killed at least 39 people in the last few days and affected more than 5 lakh, many of them fleeing their homes to shelter in camps. In Gaibandha, in northern Bangladesh, soldiers were seen reinforcing houses with sandbags. Monsoon rains start in June and continue through September. They are vital for farmers in India, Nepal and Bangladesh as well, but cause loss of life and property damage every year. The devastation caused by floods and mudslides have wreaked havoc in Sierra Leone. It occurred in the Fula town area of Freetown. Rescue workers have uncovered nearly 400 bodies and expected that number to surpass 500 as the search continues. Another 600 people are estimated to be missing, according to the Red Cross. And that's how we could pack it on the news tonight. Thank you so much for joining us.